Welcome to the Coffee Snobs podcast, where we just really love good coffee.
So grab your cup of coffee and join us each episode as we explore any and everything coffee related.
From pour-overs to lattes to the coffee experience, we explore it all because life's too short to drink bad coffee. Here we go.
Welcome to the Coffee Snob podcast. This is episode number 4.
That's correct.
My name is Chad Lingafelt. I'm joined by
Tyler Dancy.
And across the table,
Aaron Beaver.
And man, we had a blast on the last episode talking about cold brew coffee. I learned something from that.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it. The cold brew immersion.
Yep.
Right. So check that out if you haven't already. That's episode 3. That would be the one previous to this episode now.
That's normally the way it works.
3, 4, 5.
We're still trying to figure out how to count around here. But anyway, that was a really, again, I know the concept of this podcast is not really to talk down on coffee,
not at all.
The coffee snob, you might assume that, but it's an education of how to make good coffee and how to experience good coffee.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think there's definite value in previous episodes.
Yeah, for sure. Because our tagline is "Life is too short to drink bad coffee," and so our goal is the word snob does pretentious, pinky out, but it really is educational.
Yeah.
We're all going to be learning a lot about this. You'll probably have people commenting, "Man, you guys are idiots. You don't know anything about coffee." But hey, we learning. So
we're all learning various things through this process. Some of us refer to our coffee in grams, like in normal random conversation, and some of us don't. But whatever.
Scoops.
Grams. Can you be a snob if you don't know your grams? But let's. I digress.
All right, let's get into it. So, Tyler, what have you been working on? What's been new with you?
Not much really new since last time. What
are you drinking?
I am still drinking some of that Onyx coffee, like I was talking about last time. Yeah. Finishing up the last of my Huckleberry, which I've really enjoyed. So
now you get Onyx because Onyx is not local to our area, nor is Huckleberry. How are you getting your coffee?
So currently, I get coffee 2 different ways. I know normally you think, grocery store, that coffee is going to suck. But Harris Teeter, which is a pretty popular branch around North Carolina in the Charlotte area, they actually carry Counterculture, which is phenomenal coffee out of Durham. So occasionally I'll pop in there, and they have roasted on dates, obviously, on their bags. So if I can find one of their blends that I like and it's a month or newer in freshness, then I'll get that. But recently I got turned on to, it's either called Drink Trade or just Trade Coffee online. And it's a really cool service. They pair up with, probably 2 to 3 dozen roasters from all across the country. And we'll probably just discuss this in more detail. This probably warrants an entire episode sometime in the future. But basically, you tell them what kind of coffees you like, and it's been referred to as the Netflix of coffee. Mm-hmm. They will match you up with what they think will be really good. So, for me, it's an easy way to get super fresh coffee because the roaster is roasting at their home site and mailing it out directly to you. So you're getting coffee that's 2 days old shipped to your home, and it ends up being much more economical than trying to get it through different other
which has opened a massive. You've tasted. Luckily we live close to each other, and you've allowed me to sample most everything that you've gotten. But you've been given the opportunity to drink some really high end coffee.
Yeah.
Stuff roasted with care. So
absolutely,
you've been giving them a lot of grams.
A lot of grams, yeah. We deal in grams now. What about you, Chad?
So we've been Counterculture has been a staple around here for a while, but we recently got connected with a local roaster here in Charlotte called Sugar Creek Roasters, and he brings us 5 pounds of coffee every week, and it's a random assortment of we've kind of described to him what we like. And medium roast and all that, and he finds beans that will kind of fill those notes very well, and brings us freshly roasted coffee every week. So it's been fun. We've had a Peru roast and a East Timor, I think is how you pronounce it. But we've also had a variety of washed, natural, and then what was the other that I was telling you about?
It's that immersion.
Yeah, like
it's immersion natural. So essentially, it's put in water. It's not tumbled or pressured underwater to remove the skin, but it is a sped up natural process.
Yeah. So he's bringing a lot of different varieties in that we probably wouldn't necessarily pull off the
really
shelf,
cool.
but it's given us a lot of really cool awareness to different beans, different roast, and we get to taste it all here. So
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, so diving in this week's podcast.
yes, this episode we are talking about how you handle your coffee when you're traveling.
Yeah.
So I know Aaron travels quite a bit for work. I've been traveling some for some business conferences and so forth, and I know you travel down to Disney World.
Like once a week now.
Pretty much.
I do not travel for work nearly as much as these gentlemen here, but something as simple as family vacation a couple times a year, being gone for multiple days and needing some good coffee.
So the question is, what do you do when you're on the road in a Airbnb or a hotel or whatever to get good coffee? Because that's the big question. So what are we doing?
So I think the first thing is, once you're at home and you're creating a consistent cup of coffee, then you start to get some anxiety knowing that you're leaving all of your stuff at home. And I think that's really where this conversation leads to, because now you're at home, you've been measuring your water to coffee ratio, you're producing really, really good cups of coffee morning after morning after morning, and now you've kind of adjusted your palate to this kind of coffee. For me, I have multiple different things that I do for different travels, but my easiest setup is a plastic pour over setup where I travel with it, and I won't even take a bag of beans.
So you're talking about like a V60, like a single serve.
A single serve. Yep. I will not even take filters. I'll just stop at a grocery store and grab filters. If I've had enough advance notice, I'll take beans with me, but just traveling with that's kind of more difficult. So I'll go buy an Earth Fare. I look for an Earth Fare. I really enjoy Earth Fare's coffee. They really promote the snobbish lifestyle of coffee, because they'll have local roasters there. They have a whole section that has local roasters in the area, but they also have really high standards like Stumptown there, which Stumptown makes great coffee. If I'm not mistaken, Merit is the one local to us. And so with that, I'll go buy a bag there. They have a grinder.
Earth Fare is a chain of grocery stores in the Southeast, correct?
Yeah, they are. But I actually think Earth Fare is nationwide.
Okay.
Thank you for specifying that. But with that, I'll grind the beans there, and then go back to my hotel with a bag of coffee and paper filters and my plastic non-breakable travel pour over. And and then the next challenge is hot water.
Yeah.
What do you do for your hot water situation?
So this is really where the snob level goes to. And first off, you've went to the grocery store to get your own beans, and a lot of that has to do, I check the area because I love traveling to coffee shops. So I think part of this snobbish journey is getting to coffee shops.
Yeah.
Like, I like trying. I'll go in, I'll chat with the baristas, I'll chat with the owners, I'll ask them what they like. But if I'm going to an area that is like a drought for that, or I know my event is not going to allow me to leave the area, I will take my own. So like I did a trip to Ohio and was like in an area where there were more cows than there were humans. So I knew that I wasn't going to get...
So what do you do about hot water in that instance?
So most hotels have a coffee machine in the hotel. And you would say, well, Aaron, why are you taking your own stuff? Well, I like to control my coffee process, and so I'll use that to heat the water. So that's what I'll use that for, is to heat the water. I'll normally run that machine one time through to put the water through, and then I'll take that hot water and put it back into it, just because most of those machines don't get the water to the temp that I'm wanting them. And I know that's super like it kind of yes, I do wear the badge of honor of being the snob. It's only just because I've refined the palate. I can drink just any cup of coffee, but I enjoy a good cup of coffee.
What about you, Tyler? What do you do?
Well, I don't think I'm nearly as detailed as Aaron. What comes to mind most recently, though, is like taking a family vacation. We're at the beach for, roughly a week. And bless his heart, my father-in-law will bring a Keurig and a bunch of freeze-dried Folgers. And I could drink that. But the simplest thing I do, I bring my pour-over.
You say freeze-dried Folgers?
Folgers, yeah. That's what, honestly, to a lot of an older generation, in their 50s or 60s, that's good coffee to them. Folgers or
well, that's the best part of waking up is Folgers
in your cup.
Listen, that's a phenomenal marketing. I mean, still to this day, I don't even think they use that as their branding, but still to this day, we were infants, and that was the thing on. Yeah. I mean,
creating customer loyalty,
marketing. So yeah, like I said, last vacation that comes to mind is basically your only option was Keurig or maybe a drip coffee maker, something, again, low quality coffee. So simply brought my pour over, set up the kettle, the carafe, everything, and I have a hand grinder, so I would bring some beans, and every morning.
Now hold on. First off, I'm gonna get I will wear the badge of honor of being the snob, but at this moment, don't have a hand grinder.
It just seems like too much work, though, to be honest with you.
It really is. And the reason I have a hand grinder to begin with is because I'm cheap, and I saw a really good burr grinder. I think it was a Kickstarter. Gosh, the name even escapes me now. But it's a good product that, you can grind anywhere from espresso to whatever coarseness you want. But I quickly realized when you needed roughly 40 grams of coffee every morning just to make a pour over, that my right arm was getting really large, much larger than my left. So,
you can take the handle off and switch it in directions.
Sure. So I'm not amphibious. I cannot use both hands.
But anyway,
but here's the good takeaway from the hand grinder. It makes a great travel grinder. You're not bringing your expensive electric grinder that's big and all that good stuff. So anyway, I have a hand grinder, it's a burr grinder, and I will suck it up and just grind fresh coffee every morning at the beach, so that at the very least myself and my wife can have good pour over.
Yeah.
Some exclusion there, just those two people. You all can have your own.
Your father-in-law's getting.
Well, honestly, my in-laws and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they're not big coffee snobs, so they'll just if they drink anything, they're gonna drink the Keurig.
It's been interesting. So it really depends on, for me, if I'm traveling by road or by air.
Okay.
How this kind of goes down. I was on Amazon a couple of weeks ago and trying to find a case for the Chemex, like the small
travel case.
Yeah, they don't make them.
Dude, that's the market.
So. Sorry if I just gave somebody a really great idea, but
phenomenal idea.
It would be, because otherwise you're packing glass in your suitcase.
You're right.
Is that even allowed with flying? Unless it's really...
It worked. I brought it back with me last time.
Okay.
But we were in San Antonio, Texas, and got there, and I had not done a lot of good homework to see if there's any close coffee shops around. The hotel that we were in, which was a Marriott, had a Starbucks inside, but I'm like, I've been on this major campaign against Starbucks for a long period of time that I couldn't bring myself to do that. And so we went out, actually. So Whole Foods also has a similar thing where they have a local section of roasters. And so we did that. And very similar, I was chuckling whenever you were talking about the roast or the grinding it in the store, because I did that as well. I just lost many grams on the floor because of a situation. But anyway,
clean up on the coffee.
I was like, But anyways, it was a really, really, really bad mess. But anyway, did that and then just did the small Chemex, the 1 to 3 cup.
Okay.
Which travels actually really well, and that's why I was looking for a case, because I had in times past taken my larger 8 cup Chemex whenever I'm on a road trip, but it does take up a lot of room. And in that situation, if I'm traveling by road, I will measure out how much coffee I'm going to need for the time and just pre-grind it at home. So that is one thing I don't travel with, is a grinder. Pre-grind it at home and then bring enough filters and if I'm traveling by road, I'll bring my my kettle. But when I felt like it was going to be too much to have to travel with all that in the air, so I ended up using Amazon Prime Now.
Okay.
And just had a little $15 electric kettle delivered. So then that did the trick, and I just left it there because I wasn't going to travel.
So $15. but that like once you've controlled the data enough, like to have. Yeah. I mean, you essentially spent. What was the total on that little setup?
Yeah, I had about $50 into it when it was all said and done for that initial setup. But now I don't have to buy that Chemex again. I can travel with the Chemex.
Okay, so $50. But hold on, $50, and it was for coffee for you and your wife for
a week.
For a week.
Yeah.
So. Yes, it sounds a little ridiculous.
That was for me 3 cups a day, for her 1 a day. So I was making 4 cups a day.
4 cups a day. So I know it sounds ridiculous to have a travel setup or even Amazon something to the house or to the location you're going to, but I mean, you just spent $50 and you got coffee for a week. If that's 5 days, that's 4 cups a day, 5 days, 20 cups.
At a hotel Starbucks, you're at $5 a piece,
right?
Minimal, right? Unless you just do drip coffee.
Yeah, and I think that's like $2 or $3 a cup.
Yeah, so it's roughly going to come out the same, and you have the ability to do it in your room, so you don't have to go out and try. But that's the other thing is, and I know in a later episode we're going to talk about how to identify a good coffee shop on the road or when you're traveling. But that's one of the things. Is there one within close proximity so that it's not a trip to have to go out and get morning coffee,
right,
versus kind of that first thing in the morning? And for me, I'm an early riser, so I'm up at 5:30, and not a lot of coffee shops are open at that time anyway.
Yeah, and especially you said you were traveling with your family. Yeah. It might be different. Like Aaron, he's traveling by himself.
Yeah,
a little bit easier for you to sneak out and go explore coffee shops.
It definitely is, and like Chad said, traveling versus air versus road. I will pre-grind gram bags so that I know it just makes it easier. And I know it's like you could just go to a Starbucks and grab a cup of coffee, but I really enjoy the process of refining the craft of making coffee. You may not, you may listen to this and be like, guys, y'all are ridiculous. But
it's a lot of effort.
It is a lot. But one of the things that I enjoy about the coffee process is the trial and error, like knowing, okay, now I can travel and make a really good cup of coffee. And I have recently introduced my parents to, a higher level of coffee only because of a travel trip where they got to experience a really good cup of coffee from a local roaster in Winston-Salem that was phenomenal. Brazil, natural. It was probably one of the best cups of coffee beans that I've had, and my mom got a cup of it and it was a game changer. So traveling, I know it takes a little effort, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Is if you're enjoying the process, then you're going to go through those the taste of coffee, the quality, the control, and all that stuff. That's a part of it, but you also have to enjoy that process. And a lot of people aren't going to go through that hassle for the process either. But I can say I've done both. I've traveled with and without, and I far more enjoy being able to wake up and have that same coffee experience that I have at home while traveling.
Yeah.
Now, if I traveled more frequently, I probably would have to figure out a better way to do it. But the process by warming up the water in the hotel coffee machine, listen,
it's risky. Yeah. I know it is. It's not the ideal, but where I was at, remember, I was more cows than humans. So, it's I could go across to the McDonald's. See,
somebody needs to come up with this. I mean, give somebody a good idea to make money from at least 2 people in this around this table. Maybe all 3 of us would invest in this, but a travel pack where you could have somehow of a collapsible kettle and a protection for your Chemex.
Speaking of, well, not the Chemex part, but I've seen recently I think it was on Instagram, it was a collapsible kettle, electric kettle, and also a collapsible carafe setup for pour-overs.
See, that's legit.
Yeah, I think I looked at it initially, and the carafe itself was like $80. So that's a little on the high end for.
But if you're constantly traveling, it would be worth it. Yeah, for one trip, it would probably be out of range. Yeah. But that's pretty interesting. Well, cool.
So on the other end of the spectrum, let's say you're traveling, you're riding around for work with other guys, and they're not willing to, go to your level of snobbery, and you have a choice. You can either stop in a Dunkin' or a Starbucks or not have coffee. So, what's your take on that, Chad?
Yeah. I drink water.
Well, hey, that's an honest answer. What about you, Aaron? If those are your only options, like a Dunkin' Donuts or a Starbucks,
I'm gonna need a little more parameters. Am I driving and I'm real drowsy? Like I need to get home. Like I need to know.
Well, and 2, if I'm driving, then I'm going to go to a coffee shop that I want to.
Exactly.
Okay.
But no, now I know it sounds like we're blasting Starbucks. I'm very appreciative of the wave of coffee that they brought in, but the care to their roasting is frustrating. So what I would say is I would get a cup. It's going to literally be an Americana. That's all I'm going to trust them with.
Fair enough.
So, but what about you, James?
Again, my snobbery levels they come and go. While ideologically I'm gonna want the best coffee I can. In a pinch, like if my wife and I are driving on a long trip down the highway, and there's a Starbucks, I'm not above stopping in there and getting, like you said, probably an Americano or drip, something that's kind of hard to mess up, even though it will still probably be a little more of a burnt roast than I enjoy.
Yeah, and real quick, I did call Tyler James, and so I wanted to clarify something.
Apparently that timer does make noise whenever it finishes.
Oh, and now so just wanted to clarify so that way if somebody was like, James, who's James? They've not introduced James. James is Tyler.
Yeah, my name is James Tyler, so when Aaron wants to be hoity-toity, he calls me
sorry.
James.
Sounds
well, cool. So I have literally bought bad coffee before and just taken a sip and then left it sitting on the table.
Absolutely. I mean, I've done the same thing.
I did it yesterday.
Wow.
It was bad.
Really?
Yeah, it was really bad.
Should the place remain anonymous?
I mean, I would love to blast them, but I'm more respectful than that.
Yeah.
All right, next time. So we alluded to it a little earlier, but next time we're going to dive into how do you pick a good coffee shop.
That's correct.
Exactly.
So that you don't have that process of buying it and then leaving it on the table going, man, that sucked.
It's true.
We'll talk about that on the next episode, so be looking out for that. But in the meantime, Tyler, how can people find you if they're looking for you on the social?
If you are looking for me on the social, I am on the Instagram and the Twitter. My handle is Dancy, Ty Dancy, and that's pretty much it.
What about you, Aaron, on the interwebs?
That's going to be Aaron, Aaron Beaver, Aaron Beaver on Instagram, and on the YouTube it is The Suffer Club. The Suffer Club. And remember, you can always follow us and our information at CoffeeSnobs Podcast on the Instagram.
CoffeeSnobs Podcast on the Instagram and YouTube channel, video, so you can see us sitting around and talking if you're just bored of listening to us.
That's correct.
You can see what we look like.
Last but not least, Chad, what about you if they want to reach out to you?
Chad Lingafelt, spell it like it sounds. You can find us on all of this stuff.
All the stuff?
Yeah.
All righty.
The Instagram and the Facebook and the Twitters and
the socials.
The LinkedIn.
Yep.
The LinkedIn.
And the Google.
The Google. Yeah,
that's the best way to go.
Just Google me.
Just Google me.
All right, guys. Again, thanks for listening to today's episode. And a reminder, you can find us on all podcast platforms and the YouTube. So if you like what we are doing, leave us a comment, like, subscription, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll take it all.
If you don't like what we're doing, just tell
Roast
us that too.
Blast us. It'd be a badge of honor.
It would be.
Alrighty, guys. Till next time.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully we helped you take your coffee experience to the next level. Listen and watch with us every Monday as we explore everything coffee. You can find us on all major podcast platforms, and we would appreciate if you could subscribe and review on iTunes. Check out all of our video content on our YouTube channel, and you can connect with us by reaching out on social media and the web or YouTube. Thanks so much. We will see you again next time.